say goodbye yet? Can I change your mind? 'Cause I don't think we're finished until I cross the line. 'Cause I can't let you go. I want you to know that I will make you mine. 'Cause I can't let you go. I want you to know that I will make you mine. So
Well, hello there. How's everybody doing? This is, again, if you can't tell, this is Jordan Page, South Coast Kane, coming to you from Sebastian Street Studios, live from Hurricane Lane. Yeah, so tonight, we have the first episode of this nonsense I've been running my mouth about, 40-year favorite series. Uh I guess you're probably thinking, why are you so excited about this? Well, eh, I could sit here and talk about the team, how the football team's doing. I could sit here and talk about, you know, the game coming up, which uh I will, but that'll be for another time. I could, but I mean, you got so many great people out there doing that now and doing such a great job of it. Uh, you know, the latest and greatest now is from what I'm gathering, is the that ESPN predictor. I know I saw it on Coach Coop. Coach Coop was he had a video about, basically, according to the FPI or some crap like that, that as of right now, Miami is possibly going to go what did it say, 11-1. They should be able to win all their games except Florida State. Uh that may be. It may not. But I mean, I'm not going to sit here and waste my time and waste your time talking about topics that, again, all these other fine folks are doing. I just want to do my thing. And one thing I've always wanted to do is rank or come up with my favorite, or what I think are the top position players that Miami has had in, the last 40 years. So yeah, I got my old school Dorsey jersey on. You know, we are talking about the field generals, the quarterbacks. That's right, Red Cup tonight. Um, so as I've stated in previous shows, I get my information and my stats from sportsreference.com, sports-reference.com. So if anybody tonight or in the future, uh, if you notice there's a mistake or bad information or whatever, it's okay. This isn't a science. It's just me looking at numbers, making a decision for me. Okay. And this is the beauty of it. This is the beauty of it. Got to get comfortable here. This is the beauty of it for like the fifth time. This is just my opinion. These are my favorites. Uh if if you have your favorites and we don't match, so what? This isn't okay. These are the top quarterbacks. No, it's what I think. And in a weird, crazy way, I kind of enjoyed. I went through the stats and stuff, and in a weird way, I kind of liked it. It was fun. Oh, Phil, swag. Glad to see you, buddy. Glad to see you. Oh, if we get anybody, or Phil, if anybody would like to, yeah, I'm going old school tonight, baby. Old school. Uh, if we can, if we're fortunate to have, some other folks sign up, or Phil, if you want to, I'll put the invite in the Discord if you like to join in the conversation, because this is, it's kind of a twofold thing. One, like I said earlier, I wanted to come up with the list, and two, I really think it would be great interaction, conversation. I don't want to say debate, but a good conversation on what you think, what I think, what we think, how we think, if we think. Hey, like that. Uh so uh you know what? I tell you what I'm gonna do. I tell you what I'm gonna do. Cause this is a high quality, big time Rodeo Drive money production studio here. I tell you what I'm gonna do. If y'all will just give me a moment to do, whoops, to do what I'm going to do here. What I'm going to do is I am going to I am going to put the Hey Phil, thank you for sharing my little short this morning. Hey, and thank you for sharing the uh my thing. So here's what I'm doing. Here's what I'm doing. I am going to put the invite in my Discord for tonight's show. I have no time limit tonight. I have no curfew. Now, I'm on my days off until Monday, and I would really, I mean, I don't care. I don't care who you are, what you are, where you are. I would really like to have some good dialogue on this, because I think looking at these numbers, I mean, I came into this with, a list in my head, you know. And then once I started looking at numbers and comparing, I'm like, wow, you know. So, without any delay, let me tell you what we got here. So, we're going to start with spreadsheet number one. All right. So, this right here is, if you can see, we have the year and who the starting quarterback, or the quarterback that had the majority of the snaps. Now, all my numbers that we'll get to in a second is uh hang on. Hold the phone. I need to put a little bit of, see if I can get a little music playing while I'm doing this, so at least you can enjoy some background elevator music here. So as I was saying, uh this first one here, very self-explanatory. We're going to start in 83, okay, and we're going to go all the way to 2023. Uh and as I was saying, uh I primarily excuse me, I primarily went through the stats via sports.reference. Or sports-reference.com. So if there's, like I said, if there's any discrepancies, it is what it is. So I took the quarterback situation. I went with who had the most. Now, if you see, like here in 93, whoops. Oh, there it is. There we go. That shouldn't be too loud. So like here in 1993, Costa and Collins kind of took snaps together. Same thing with the good old days of '96, Clement and Covington, and then '99, Kelly, and then Dorsey. Now, like Marv and Harris, I think Marv did. He started off, I believe, and then I'm not going to relive those nightmare years. And then Harris come on, and of course Marv transferred to Purdue the next season. And then the same thing in 2010, Harris and Morris. I think Ja'Cory Harris got hurt, I believe. I'm not sure, but this isn't a history lesson. I'm just trying to give you some prefaces here. 2019, some of y'all will remember, or 18, Rozier and Perry, Williams and Perry. If those of y'all remember back in 2018, 2019, a lot of quarterback controversy going on. But still, of course, we know Williams, he transferred to Florida South Florida the next year. And then, of course, we all remember De'Aaron King. God bless that young man, talented young man. He got hurt, like, I think 3 games after he only played 3 games, he got hurt. And then, of course, last year, we had the 3-headed monster. And, of course, Garcia transferred. Well, so, and then also I figured, hey, let's put, in case you didn't know who the coaches were, put the coaches on there. And after going through all these here, basically we have 25 quarterbacks available, in my opinion, because technically I wanted to have it to where we only used quarterbacks who stuck around until they graduated or left for the draft. Anybody who felt like they need to move on, I really didn't want to count them. But let's not get too technical here. So yeah, let's just look at the list. No particular order. We got some really, really good names here. So yeah, there's about 25 that we're going to look at. Okay. So what we're going to get into next is we'll get into the actual numbers. Let me get myself bigger. Hey. So before we really get into the nuts and bolts and the gist of this, just to tell you how we're going to do this going forward, as the cool kids say. Tonight, we're going to do the quarterbacks. Now, if we don't finish, we don't finish. If we finish, we finish. It's no big deal. And then next episode 2, titled Thoroughbreds, will be the running backs. Okay. Yeah, I've had my marketing team working overtime coming up with these fantastic names. So not like we'll have another episode on the running backs. Then we'll have an episode with the receivers. And then we'll probably have a receiver and then tight end together. And then once we get those positions out the way, you know, I mean, I don't really have a lot of stats from that website. The defense doesn't really come into play till like 2005, but maybe we can just shoot from the hip on the defense and come up with our own. Just have fun with it. Then the coup de grace, the show, the finale, is the favorite teams from 40 years, ranking the teams from the last 40 years. Now, I know you're thinking, I don't want to jump ahead, but I know your first thought when you think of the best Miami team, the first thing that comes into mind is 2001, correct? Time out. Yes, 2001 had all the draft picks. 2001 went undefeated. 2001 won the national championship outright. Talented, talented group of young men. But I don't, me personally, I like to just look at the whole body of work, you know. And hey, it I mean, honestly, as of right now, until I look at the numbers, I say 2001 is the team to beat, you know. But again, that's down the road. That's where it's going to really get good because that's where we're going to take all this that we're doing now and team. I mean, I'm talking with head coaches, maybe maybe take a look at the coordinators, but look at but anyway. Okay. So, time for this old dude to shut up and let's get into it. So, let me do 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 do. Let me find. There it is. Okay, so let's get this party started. Okay, so let me give you some information and explain this here. So what I did is, as you can see, it's very self-explanatory, but I'm going to explain it to you anyway. So again, I went with the website. I went through, and the categories that I'm going to do my rating on is, of course, yards passing, completion percentage. I went with a minimum of 300 attempts. Uh, kind of narrow it down because, if you get somebody with only like say 100 attempts in mop-up duty, and if they go 75% quarterback rating of unastronomical, it's just not fair. So I went ahead and went to a 300 minimum. Total TDs, interceptions, which is the list you do not want to be the top of. And then the quarterback rating based on, of course, these quarterback ratings were from the website. And then I went even further, and I may have made a mistake. I may not have, but I went back based on the quarterback rating right here. All right. So I took these numbers, or these individuals, these quarterbacks, and I went through their time, their playing time, and how did they do versus top 10 opponents? That's including bowl games. If they played a top 10 team, how did you do? Okay. Because, to me, yeah, you could say, well, Kaya, he had almost 10,000 yards passing. I mean, understandable. But, Mr. King had the highest completion percentage, but Dorsey threw 80. He had the most touchdowns. Now, okay, just also, I did not put TVD in there yet. He was kind of middle of the road on most of it, maybe a little higher, but nothing against TVD. But I just, his career is still ongoing, so he's really not through, but he is still part of the 40 year. So, caught a breeze there. Anyway, so looking at our numbers, the top 10 yards passing. I mean, no real surprises. I didn't realize, with Kyle Wright and Clement, I didn't realize they had did that well, and then of course Walsh, that really blew my mind how Steve Walsh wasn't even in the top 10 passing yards. That was crazy. And then completion percentage, which can be deceptive because I mean we don't, unless you go through hours and hours of tape, like with, say, like Erickson, he only had 55.9% completion rating, completions there, 55.9%. Was that overthrow, underthrow, receiver drop the ball, throw it away, but we're not going to get in all that. But yeah, these numbers are very interesting too. De'Eric, of course, Mr. King, he only played for like that season or two, then he got hurt, unfortunately. But still, of course, you expect to see the Kozar, Vinny, Ja'Cory was in there 60%. Even with Kyle Wright, he hit 59.2%. Even old Brock Berlin, the old gunslinger, he was at 58. But you see, Toretta was only 56 and Erickson was only at 55, that was interesting, to say the least. And then touchdowns. This is really cool too. You got Harris at 70, Kaya was at 69, and then there's like a 20 drop. Stephen Morris, which I really liked Morris. I really did. And then look at Vinny. Vinny's only number 5. Him and Vinny and Steve Walsh, they're tied at 5 with 48 touchdowns. That is crazy, And then you got Kozar and even Wright. Now, interceptions. This is the naughty list. Harris threw some interceptions. Of course, Wright, Morris, Kozar. Even Dorsey. So, that is what it is. But, Walsh only had 19. So that's pretty good. Now, according to the quarterback rating. Now, I know some people kind of judge the quarterback on the rating. And if you do, here's some interesting numbers. All right, so Vinny comes in at the highest, then Dorsey, Kaya, King, Walsh, which is pretty interesting because, Walsh is, 11 in passing yards. He had a good completion, a lot of touchdowns, low interceptions. But yeah, Morris up there. And Morris being over Erickson, they're tied. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I didn't read. Yeah, Phil. Again, please don't mistake my favorites. I'm not basing everything on numbers, but I like to use the numbers to kind of help me get a better idea. But yeah, hey, and look, Phil, if Mr. Rozier is, I'm going to do 5. I'm going to do top 5. Okay. If Mr. Rozier is in your top 5 and it's not on mine, hey, that's fine, dude. There is no right or wrong answer. You know what I mean? But, I'm just doing my Geek Squad number thing because these numbers are really, really interesting. And then I took the versus top 10 based on I used the quarter. Dang it. What I did is I took these cats right here. All right. And I went through and looked at how they did against top 10 teams. Because, say with college football, teams, opponents change, fluctuate, eras, style of play, calling, coaches, things change as time goes by, because, like back in the early 80s, you still had teams, that wanted to run the option. Like in Nebraska, they run the option, and they were successful with it. And then you had teams that were So that was what I did. Now, as you can see, and this really blew my mind, that Testaverde was only 4-5 against top 10 teams. That is crazy. Of course, then he was 85 and 86, so it was just that time. Dorsey was 6-1, and if you notice, I put an asterisk by the loss. Okay. I wanted to put 7-0. I really did but Miami lost the game. We move on. Kaya, I couldn't believe he was 0-2. Only played 2 top 10 teams in his career. De'Aaron, Mr. King, he was 0-2. Walsh, now this is what's impressive. Steve Walsh was 8-1 against top 10 teams. And again, another asterisk for Mr. Walsh in that 88 team because of the Notre Dame. Cleveland Gary did not fumble. Okay. So I think if the referees didn't hose us, Miami would have won that game, and Steve Walsh would have been 9-0 against top 10 teams as the quarterback. And I'm not saying, these wins or losses are based on quarterback play or not based. It's just they were the quarterback. Here's the versus top 10 teams. And again, we'll do the same thing with the other positions too, because I thought about it for a while, and I'm like, okay, what's going to be the equalizer? What is going to be the standard by which everybody is compared? For me, now this is for me. And, I was thinking, I had talked about looking at the defenses and how much they gave up, and was it a more run? Was it more balance? Was it all passing? It was just so much, and it would just, I was getting a headache. I mean, we're not really that. I mean, we're not trying to, make an all-time list for some sports documentary. I'm like, man, calm down. You're getting a little too involved. So I thought, what would be easy? And I said, you know what? Let's go top 10 teams. Now, granted, people can argue, and that's fine, that today's top 10 is either better or worse than 10 years ago top 10, 20 years ago top 10, hell, 40 years ago top 10, because even to this day, you still have this talk about, the greatest college football teams of all time, and et cetera, et cetera. But just for me, this is just for me. This is all me. For my decision, I figured top 10. We'll just go top 10. See what happens. All right. So with all that being said, I am going to reveal my top 5 favorite quarterbacks from the last 40 years. Now, they're all my favorites. I mean, there's some that I really didn't like, but honestly, I can't just sit here and have a popularity vote. You know what I mean? I like to see the numbers just to compare and see. It's kind of like trying to find out who's your favorite child. what's your favorite Miami jersey? You know what I mean? Oh yeah, you're right, Phil. I said earlier, when we get to the teams, that's where it's really going to be interesting because, again, when I was looking at these numbers for these quarterbacks, and I was looking at the schedules and the teams, and I'm like, ooh, this could be interesting comparing teams, you know? And I'm like, that's going to be good, you know? Just again, like, if I think the 1988 team was the best, Phil, you say 2001, we're both right, because I mean, I don't want to get into that, but it's the same thing with the quarterbacks. Okay. So, with that being said, my number 5. Make sure I get this right, because I got my picks on another tab here, and I want to make sure. All right, so my number 5 quarterback, all right, is going to be jeez, dude, calm down. I'm getting excited. Let's bring this out a little bit. So my number 5. All right. My number 5 is Mr. Erickson. Craig Erickson. That is my number 5. That is number 5 for me. And, he didn't really have the highest, but he was 3-1 against top 10 teams. All right. He's okay with touchdowns. And you see, he didn't have a very high completion percentage, but he did have 6,000 yards passing. But my main thing, especially with the quarterback, is you can throw for all the yards. You can hit all the passes. But if the team doesn't win against top 10 opponent, a quality opponent, then, but a win's a win. Don't get me wrong. Now, also, when I was doing some of this research, there were years where Miami didn't really play many top 10 teams, So, I mean, it is what it is. So, yes, number 5 will be Mr. Erickson. Now, my number 4 favorite quarterback from the last 40 years is going to be Mr. Testaverde. Vinny and the Jets, if you will. Now you're thinking, why so low? He was a Heisman guy. He was this, he was that. And you're right. And since we only had 2 Heisman winners, Vinny and Gino, I really didn't want to put that too much into it. But, I just looked at the numbers. So, I mean, Vinny, he's right there in the middle of the pack of passing yards, completion percentage, touchdowns. He's in the top 10 of interceptions. And he was only 4-5 against top 10 opponents. Everybody remembers the 86 season with the Fiesta Bowl against Penitentiary State. He had 85. Make sure I'm not. Yeah, Vinny only started. He only played 85 and 86. And there was in those 2 years, Miami played 9 top 10 opponents. So that's why since basically, as you can see, Walsh had 9, played 9 top 10 teams. Vinny played 9. And you got to kind of take that into account. But then again, it is what it is. So yeah, my number 4 is Mr. Testaverde. Now, what's that bring us to? My number 3. Number 3 quarterback. Number 3, Mr. Gino Torretta, Mr. Heisman Trophy winner from 92. Number 3. This was a surprise to me when I looked at the numbers. All right. Because I remember watching Mr. Torretta, and I was never really impressed. He was good. Don't get me wrong. I thought he was good. But before I did all this, my little pre stat ranking, I really didn't have him anywhere near he might have been in the top 10, but I guess, and of course it may just be me. I may just have sour grapes over that Sugar Bowl against Alabama, but we're not going to relive that. But yeah, but still, Toretta's got solid numbers. This is how I did mine. He's number 5 in passing yards, but he was 13th in completion. He did have some good touchdowns, not very many interceptions, and he was very low on the quarterback rating too. But you can't deny 5-1 against top 10 opponents with that one loss coming from Alabama. So he very well could have easily been 6-0. So anybody, Phil, I know I'm assuming Phil's here. If anybody else is here, sitting in the back row having fun, let me know who you got so far. This is going to be fun to talk about. So we got 3 of the top 5. Now, number 2. Now this is where it starts getting interesting, because it gets interesting. Number 2 is going to be none other Mr. Dorsey. Mr. Dorsey, number 2. Now, I know probably everybody in this thing probably just friggin' said, you're an idiot. He's not that. Time out. Let's calm down. Nobody's right. Nobody's wrong. I'm just showing you for me. Feel free to share yours. Please share them. So, Dorsey at number 2. Okay. Yeah, he's number 2 in passing yards. Number 10 in completion percentage. He's got, he's at 86 touchdowns. Okay. He did have 28 interceptions. He's number 2 in quarterback rating. And he was 6-1. course, should have been 7-0. Now again, I'm not, like I said, this is like for me, this was like trying to find out who's your favorite child, but for the sake of rating, I got to do it. So that's number 2. So to recap, in case you just joined us, Dorsey at 2, Toretta at 3, Vinny's at 4, and Erickson's at 5. Now, who's going to be my number 1? Who's going to be my number 1 favorite based on the numbers? Okay. Who indeed? We got Kaya, King, Walsh, Kozar. You notice Kozar hasn't been named yet either. Stephen Morris hasn't been named yet. Harris, Ryan, Clement. Clement will not be on my top list. God bless the kid, but he was here at the wrong time, wrong place, wrong time. Him and Covington in the 90s. So without further ado, my number 1 favorite quarterback based on the stats is none other. Okay, brace yourself because people are going to hit the floor when I say this. I got to go with my man, Mr. Walsh, Mr. Steve Walsh. Number 1. Number 1. And the thing that, and I've always liked Mr. Walsh. The thing that put him over the edge, and it's all, Mr. Steve Walsh has always kind of been my favorite because of what that team did in 88. They won it in 87. And then that 88 team, what the teams they beat. He was 8-1 versus top 10 teams, with the Notre Dame BS loss. Now, that team should have went back-to-back championships. But the refs hosed them. Plus, that 87, 88 team, hell of a team. And he was the quarterback. Oh, crap. So yeah, that's by the numbers that is my top 5 favorites. We have Steve Walsh coming in at number 1, Ken Dorsey number 2, Toretta number 3, Vinny number 4, and Mr. Craig Erickson coming in 5. So yeah, that's on the numbers. Again, if I was just picking without numbers, how do you do it? What do you base your decision on? If you base it on the championships, if you base it on win loss, or that's fine, but for me, I wanted to go with the numbers. And again, I love them all, but yeah. So that is my top 5. And I, after looking, like I said, I looked at these numbers and I'm like, hey, I didn't know that, So with that being said, it's like Ryan Clement, Scott Covington back in the 90s. Those were high recruits coming in. They were just wrong place, wrong time. And even I'm gonna tell you what, When I was looking at it, Frank Costa, those teams, 94, 95, they were still pretty good, you know. Uh, but yeah, that's my top 5. I'm okay with it, you know. So, what y'all got? Tell me who y'all got. Give me some names. Y'all throw something out there. Let me see what you like. Because it ain't as much fun if I just sit here and do it. You still with me, Phil? Give me your top 5, baby. Come on. Or top 10, top 3, top 1. I don't care. Or if anybody feels more comfortable coming on and being on camera or talking live, we can discuss it. If you go to my Discord, where'd I put my Discord? Oh, there it is. I got so many tabs and windows open on 2 monitors right now. Okay. So yeah, it is there. Hopefully it works. And I'm not trying to pressure anybody into woohoo, there I am. I'm not pressuring anybody into doing it, but I want to hear what everybody thinks. And if you want to, if you happen to be sitting in the back row, just got here late because the drive-through at McDonald's was backed up, and you're not familiar, if you go to my YouTube page, South Coast K, and go to the link in the About section of my page, you have the Discord. Click on that, do the invite, and then in my general talk, let me make sure I got this. Yeah, the general text channel that they call it. Just scroll down and you'll see the StreamYard invite. So that's that. So I guess while I'm waiting on somebody to give me their top 5, top 3, top 2, their favorites. And you don't have to give a reason. I just like to see what everybody thinks, in case you've been living under a rock, should be an interesting game Saturday. I think it's going to be, it's definitely going to be at least a 21-point victory for Miami. But, one of the conversations back to this quarterback thing is, say like, my favorite, Mr. Walsh, would he have been successful with other teams? I don't know. Maybe Mr. Walsh was in the right place at the right time. And I was real shocked that, now, Dorsey, he played, he was there. He was starting quarterback. Well, he came in late in 99. He got some time in 99. But, I mean, he had 2000, 01, and 02, as y'all know. And, he actually was on the field a lot more than Walsh was. Now, I'm not saying that inflated his numbers. No. Different years, different teams. I understand Dorsey had a lot more draft picks. I'm not going to sit here and say that the 01 team was more talented than 88 or 88 was less talented than 01. I'm not, no. They were all good. But, it just surprised me that the 01, Dorsey only faced 7 top 10 teams. you know. Because you know, if you take away, let's see, 2000, say the bowl games, 2000, I think Florida was ranked, were they like 7 or 8? And then 01 Nebraska, they were top 10. And then 02, the asterisk game, they were so I mean, you know, he had those. So you take those 3 bowl games away, and he only played against 4 top 10 teams in the regular season. Which is crazy. That's crazy. I'm not saying this to diminish anything that Mr. Dorsey did. I mean, I am wearing his jersey. He is one of my favorites. Okay, he's a favorite. I'm not trying to diminish what Mr. Dorsey and those teams did, but you know, Walsh, he was at the reins for 2 years, 87, 85, 87, 88. Okay. And he was 8-1, should have been 9-0. You know, and I'm not saying it was all because of Walsh. I'm not saying it's all because of Dorsey or not or whatever. I'm just saying, to me personally, and I don't want to give anything away, but to me, it's really hard to differentiate. Well, I'm using some good words today, aren't I? It's hard to really differentiate between the talent, et cetera, between 88 and 2001. I think it would make for a great game head to head, you know. But again, you know, it's just crazy. You know, if you just look at the numbers, you look at the stats, you look at the competition at the time. Now, of course, in 01, Miami was in the Big East. Not their fault that they had to play all these trash teams. You know, 87, 88, Miami was independent, so they played whoever. But the thing about that 88 team, and I really don't want to get into a history lesson, but the teams they beat were from different conferences, and I believe, and I didn't go through and I didn't do the math, didn't do the investigation, but I believe the majority of those teams won their conferences. So, I mean, basically Miami in 88 beat all those conference champions. You know? Actually, that was the year they came to Baton Rouge and played LSU in the Typhoon and beat them 44-3. I was there. Oh, yeah. I was there. I ain't never been in so much rain in my life, but I was there. So I'm kind of partial to the 88 team. That was my first time seeing Miami play football. So I am kind of biased on that 88 team. But anyway, so yeah. Again, I'm not trying to beg y'all, but please let me know what you got, man. I want to see what everybody thinks, you know. Just let me know what you think. And also, while we're waiting for somebody to let me know what they like and what they don't, feel free to, I'm gonna do the YouTube promo. Okay, you ready? Please hit that like and subscribe if you want to get the latest and greatest updates so you don't miss a show. Nah. I mean, everybody else does it. Why can't I? So yeah, let's see what everybody's got. Because I really wanted to get some good conversation and good dialogue going here. Because I mean, I feel bad. I don't want to sit here and have me talking all the time. you know. So while I'm waiting for some names to pop up, kind of give you a viewing schedule for the channel this weekend. Saturday, Miami plays. They're on the ACC network. It's at what, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central, my time. Regardless. I'll probably do a pregame show. Let's see. I'll probably, I don't know. Depends on what mood I'm in. I'm sure it'll be a good one because, you know, tailgate and everything. Now, seriously, I'll probably, as of right now, I'll probably do my pregame show. I'll probably start a live show around, I don't know, I might go about 5:30. I might go 5:30. And then I'm going to go ahead and do a post-game show too. I'm going to do a post-game show. That's what we'll do. I'll probably, I don't know, probably about 15 minutes after the game is over, I'll do my post-game show. Tell you what I think. And then we'll go. It'll all be live. I like doing the live stuff because if I record the video, then it has to be uploaded and this and that. Yeah. But I kind of like the interaction. So yes, please tell me who your favorite quarterbacks have been the last 40 years. And if you ain't, you know, you don't have to go 40 years. Just who are your favorite quarterbacks? You're not going to have to defend your case. You know, if Malik Rozier, if like Phil, if Malik Rozier is your favorite quarterback, okay, that's fine. You know, you don't have to defend yourself. I mean, you know, if you come out and give some crazy name as your favorite, I'm gonna have to ask why. I mean, like, did y'all like, you know, best friends growing up or something? Because man, that's kind of a weird, you know. Nah, I'm just saying, you don't have just because they're your favorite quarterback, it doesn't have to be based on wins and losses. It's just whatever you feel. Going to put Miami up there after they beat UNC. Yeah. So Phil, who are your quarterbacks? Talk to me. Come on. I don't mean to be an ass, but I really wanted to. I like talking to y'all. I like chopping it up. I was really, man, I tell you, I was hoping Cuban Kane would have been in here because that dude there, boy, he comes up. I'm assuming it's a dude. I don't know. That individual, man, he's got some good. I like his thinking. Favorite quarterback, Jared. See, okay, there you go. See, that's what I'm talking about, Phil. I know you're just kidding. But you know, if let's say Phil, you come and say, my number one favorite quarterback is Jaron Williams. Okay. You know, I if that's who you like, but I would definitely give you a pause and like, you know, not look at you like you're crazy, but it'd be like a look of bewilderment. You know, it's like, dude, he only stayed here for like a year or two and then left. Hang on, let me double check. Because he yeah, he transferred to He went to South Florida in 2021, so he was only there for 2 years, 2019 and 2020, I believe. Don't quote me on it, but he wasn't here long. So I'm like, you know, we all kind of witnessed what he did, you know. Okay. But but you know, in all seriousness though, you know, we joke about it. No disrespect to Mr. Williams. But we know how much of a mess things were in 2019, 2018. That, you know, that was the last year of Rick, first year of Diaz, etc., etc. You know, we were coming off that 2017. But I mean, think about it though. I mean, you take Jaron Williams, well, of course, you could probably take anybody, any quarterback from that list of 25. Let me bring it back up right quick. You take anybody on this list right here and you put them with that 2019 team that Mr. Williams was on, maybe they do okay. Maybe not. I don't know. Or you take Mr. Williams and put him with the 88 team instead of Walsh. I don't know. And, you know, that's the crazy thing. I mean, unless we sit here and do a virtual, which would be cool as hell, you know, where you had a video game where it had all the teams, you know, 88, you go 83 to now, all the teams, all the stats, all this, all that. And then say if you had, you know, the 88 team, if you had put Mr. Williams in there, you know, what would happen? And you can like virtually play it out. Now that would be cool. But yeah, I do have that at number T. He was, again, now this what you're looking at here is not a ranking. That is just how many quarterbacks basically that I just had 25. You know, that's kind of like these are the contestants in the beauty pageant, you know, that'll be judged on all these categories. Yeah, and I know Garcia left, but he did get some pretty significant playing time. So I just for argument's sake, I threw him on there because honestly, a few of these guys on this 25 list, this list here shouldn't even be there, you know. But well, you know, and with Perry again, it's really hard with the last, you know, 5-6 years to really, because I mean, let's face it, man. Let's face it. Ever since from 2018 to last year, those 4 or 5 years, excuse my language, but it was a shit show. I mean, honestly, I mean, look at it from, you know, we know about 2017, but then 2018, I mean, you had Rozier and Perry, and then 19 Williams and Perry, and 2020 King come in, and then 21 King and TVD because King was injured. And then last year you had TVD, he got injured. Garcia throwing interceptions. Then Jakari comes in. You know, I mean, just these right here, you know, those 5 seasons, you know, and again, I don't I don't want to say persecute, but I don't want to wrongly judge these young men based on the quality versus, you know, your Kozar, Vinny Erickson, you know, the Dorsey and all these guys. I know it's just as much as I don't really want to praise them because they had more successful teams. But you know, and it's really hard. I mean, and that's why I looked at that's you know, you had all the numbers, you had all the stats, you had all this, and that's why I came up with the great equalizer of versus top 10 teams. You know, I didn't want to just go by ratings. I don't know. See, that's the beauty of it. I can change my list right now if I wanted to. But I didn't want to base it on what if. You see what I'm saying? In other words, if De'Aaron wasn't hurt, how would he have done that second season? You know, what if Garcia didn't throw the interceptions? What if TVD did not get hurt in 2022? You see where I'm getting at? And again, don't get me wrong, TVD, his numbers so far, he's up there. But just hasn't had the success yet. The team, it's not really the quarterback's fault. I don't think it's really the team's fault for the last few years. I believe it's all on the coaches and the staff and execute. You know, it wasn't so much the players. You know, so I mean, and that's what makes this so interesting. You know, and again, Nkosi was a hell of a quarterback. He was. I thought Perry was better than Rozier. And Rozier was good. Really was. But you know, the players are only as strong as the team. In other words, you know, the teams, you like the 2017. That was about the closest thing we've had to anything. But, you know, look at the stuff we had back in the day. Look at the stuff we're getting. Because I'm going to tell you right now, say what you want, but this season right here has the potential of allowing Mario Cristobal to get Coach of the Year for what he's done and what the team has done, the organization. You know, I'm telling you, and this is just it's just me, my opinion. Okay. If you like it, great. If you don't, great. I really don't care. But, and I know it's only been 4 games. But if they continue to progress, you know, in the next, and with the talent coming in, you know, you're looking at the potential. I don't want to live in the land of what if, but you know, you have the potential to where the next few years teams could rival some of these teams from the past as far as success and so forth. I'm just saying, you know, It's looking that way right now. Now, next week, hell, Saturday night in the post game, I may say something different. But it's like each week, it gets better and better. Let's see. Probably would have lost. Well, let's not forget COVID. Well, again, for Miami, it's the last 6-7 years have been just crazy. And I don't want to really get into the team aspect yet. That's going to be for probably the series finale. That's where we really have, in my opinion, I think we have a real good conversation, because when you start talking about teams, that's when you got to get into the nuts and bolts of everything. That's when you start saying, okay, well, this defense only gave up this, yeah, but the offense did this. Yeah, but this team didn't play this. And now this team was on the road this many times. You see where I'm getting at? The teams, that's that's going to take me a little while, because, I don't want to just, and this is just me. This is just how I am. Okay. I don't want to just come out and just say, oh, well, 2001, that's the best team. No, I want to get in there and get to the nuts and bolts of it and see, okay, how does the 01 compare to this and that and et cetera, et cetera? You know what I'm saying? That's all. I just want to see, in other words, what made the 01 team so good? People talk about, well, we had all those number one draft picks. And that's that. There's nothing wrong with basing your nothing wrong with basing your decision on that. There is nothing wrong with that, But let me pull this back up. Let me put this other one up here. I can only do one thing at a time. I'm sorry. Let's look at this. You got the 01 team. Dorsey, they only played 7 top 10 teams in like 3 years. And I alluded to that earlier. And then you got Walsh, my number one. They played 9 top 10 teams in 2 seasons. Now, you have some that could say, well, the 01 team didn't play anybody. So, yeah, maybe I'm not starting a controversy. I'm just telling you how I think. And looking at these numbers, it really opened my. But I mean, would the 01 team have the same success if they had played, say, the 88 team schedule, and vice versa? But again, that's going to be a great discussion right there. I don't want to get into it, but I still don't see any. Still don't see anybody's top 5s or top 3s. I mean, come on. I want to see what y'all got, man. I want to see what y'all got. I'm real curious to see, like, Phil, you're a young man, so you probably don't, you're probably more of a 01 to now or 2010 to now. And that's fine. I just like to see what everybody thinks. Because like I said earlier at the beginning, whoa, easy there. Don't be yelling in the microphone. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. In the beginning, it's like everybody, I just wanted to do something different. It's like everybody and their brother are talking about this. Everybody's talking about that. I mean, you got 30 YouTube channels all saying the same thing. And there is nothing wrong with that. You know, there's great folks doing great things out there. You know, I mean, Coop's out there killing yellow jackets. Oh my gosh. But then again, that's how Coop does his thing, you know. I know like Coach Hayes, he does a little Colorado stuff along with his things, and then you got all these other fine folks doing their thing, you know, and then you got I see the basketball stuff is kicking off. But it just seems like to me, this is just my opinion. Okay, I'm not trying to be derogatory. I'm not mad at anybody. I'm not hating on anybody. But me, I get tired of seeing the same thing. I get tired of hearing the same thing. You know, and technically for the last few months, that's really all you've heard is the same old thing. You know, and I decide, you know, well, you can sit there and complain about it, or you could do something about it. So that's why I do this high budget production here. I just, you know, just having fun with it, you know. It is what it is, you know. I figure why, you know, let's just break up because I guarantee you, you know, let's say Miami wins Saturday, which I think they are, but let's just say they win. The talk next week is going to be about, they're going to start, you know, the talk about going undefeated is going to start ramping up. You know, and it's funny because probably the gist of the same folks that are the people that were saying, you know, starting to say we're going to go undefeated were the ones 3 months ago, 2 or 3 months ago, calling people stupid and idiots for predicting a 7-5 season. They're like, no, we're not going to win. We'd be lucky to be 500. Yeah. Now it's like, oh, we're going undefeated. Undefeated. Nobody can beat us. You know? And I know people are strange. It's like the door said, people are strange. Anyway, yeah, and it's crazy. It's crazy, you know. But oh man, I've been on here for almost an hour and a half. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Here's what's gonna happen. We're going to take a halftime break. Okay, halftime break. Give me about 5 or 10 minutes. Old man's gotta pee. All right. So give me about 5 minutes. I'm coming back. All right. Just take a quick intermission. And while I'm in the intermission, what I'd like, here's your assignment. I hate to keep harping on it, but when I come back, I want to see some top quarterbacks. I want to see some lists. I want to talk about this. This is fun stuff, man. All right. So like I said, give me about 5 to 10 minutes. I'll be right back. Quick intermission. See, I'm back. Get everything back here. Here we go. All right. I appreciate y'all's patience, but I can't. That one time we did like that 5-hour stream. Man, that bladder's a bitch when you get old. And I can't sit here and talk and not have something to drink. So, as you can see, the puppy dogs are in here with me tonight. They come in with me. So, excuse me. Do 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 do. No. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna pressure y'all to put your list up. It's fine. Y'all want to be party poopers? That's fine. I'm joking. I'm joking. Get comfortable here. Okay, here we go. So Phil says, let's put this up here. Vinny, Bernie, Ken, Jim Kelly for 5. It's either Gino, Craig, or Walsh. And I am kind of partial to Jim Kelly also. But 40-year favorite sounds better than 43 or 45. But nah, I mean, yeah. Excuse me. It doesn't have to be just 4. I mean, just whoever your favorites are. That's all. And of course, a lot of people, even if you ask them, just your random Canes fan, you ask them, they'll probably throw those names in there, probably throw your Dorsey and so forth. But, just me, I've said this like 10 times, I'll say it again. For me, it's like trying to decide who's your favorite child. What's your favorite ice cream? What's your favorite Miami jersey, Miami hat? But and I really wanted to just look at the numbers, and the numbers were like, wow, based on the numbers. But since, unless you create people in the NCAA football games on the Xbox and so forth, we really don't. That would be cool as hell to have it to where, okay, we're going to play the 88 team versus the 95 team, and we're going to have, Kozar is going to leave the 95, and we can mix them up, put them, but we can't. But that'd be cool as hell. Now, I know there is a website, I think it's called What If. Is it What If Sports or whatif.com? Anyway, you could have two teams. You could actually have, like the 88 Miami team play the 88 Miami team, or you could have whatever. I don't know if they go that far back, but anyway, you can do stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, well, believe it or not, Phil, I guess I'm not a true fan because I don't know all the 80-something year history of Hurricane football, but let me do this. I'm gonna pull. Wait a minute. Let me go back. Okay. Let me pull up. I'm gonna share. I'm gonna bring up that website, and I want to show some interesting stats. Okay, let me. No, get rid of that. I want to stop that. And I'm going to share. I'm going to bring that website up. Okay. So again, I'm at the sports-reference.com. So looking at now these are on yards, but if you go to the rating, let's say we change it to ratings. Well, it's kind of hard to do that. Let's go yards. Like Van Dyke's sitting there at number 10 right now. But look, number 15, you got George Mara. Then you got this cat, Kelly Cochran. He had 32. I hope I don't mispronounce this, but Olivo, there's old Marky Rick, it's crazy, the names. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. I completely understand what you're saying, Phil, and I agree with you. I'm not trying to disprove you. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I agree with you. Jim Kelly with Schnellenberger got this party started. I mean, I'll agree with you on that. I'm not going to argue that. Now, I'm sure there's probably some long time Miami fans that have been there since, watched the 70s and some of the 60s. And, it's like, for instance, and we'll get to this when we get to the running backs. But, let me bring this back up. Look at the running backs. Dude, Otis Anderson, 75 to 78. I mean, he's the second leading rusher. And that was back then. And we know the teams weren't that good back then. But what I'm getting at is, it's just, I don't know what I'm getting at. But, you can make a case for everything, but for us, just for the sake of this show and for our conversation, yes, we'll start it like in 1983, 82. Yes, Kelly started tradition, and I could take that off. But to answer your question, Phil, it was October of 79. October 79. I remember watching I was watching they had the Miami versus Penn State in 79. It was October, I believe. Matter of fact, I know I want to say it was October, coming up to the anniversary of it. No, it was November 3rd. November 3rd of 79. For some reason, I kept thinking it was October, but it's been a long time, dude. 40 some odd years. But it was somehow or another, it was on the TV. So I'm like, hey, I'll watch it. I think it was raining. I was inside, and I'm like, man, I kind of like this Miami team. They look pretty cool. And I didn't like Penn State because they were one of the tradition power. And I couldn't stand that. I hated that. I despise the Nebraskas, Oklahomas, Alabamas, Penn States, the Notre Dame, etc. The ones that were always there. I hated them. I didn't like them. And then this Miami team come along. I'm like, hey, I can do this. Now, you have to understand. You have to understand. Being here in South Louisiana, north of Baton Rouge here, wasn't much Miami coverage, you know, unless they just happened to be on the. I mean, we had just started getting cable, so I mean, it wasn't like I was able to actually watch them a lot. I had to read the newspaper, but yeah, that's the first time I saw him was in '79. Um, and then I remember that Orange Bowl when they beat Nebraska, to win the '83 championship. I remember that game because again, I hated Nebraska because it's like everybody liked that stuff. Then I'm like, bunch of old people. Y'all don't know what's going on. It wasn't exciting for me, And then it just, it escalated from there. So, and I did the best I could to follow. It was, I mean, back then, no internet, TV. You may have a game on, maybe a couple of games on the affiliate, the ABC, maybe a CBS, maybe an NBC. It wasn't like it is today, where if you just get the ESPN app, you can follow the team all the time because there was a time for me. I mean, now if you lived like in South Florida or probably near Florida, you could probably watch it all the time. I remember back in the 90s. Back in the 90s when what did ESPN call it? Their college, was it game plan? The college game plan? Well, what it was is there were for the morning, the 11 o'clock, or the noon game, and then he had the 3 o'clock game. We'll call it the early game and the middle game. You had 2 or 3 or 4 choices in that time slot. And depending on where you lived is what you saw. And since, like with Miami, it may only be Florida and up, but then it wouldn't make it all the way here. So I'd have to go to my cable company, get this special box, pay-per-view it, and watch it. But now, it's like, because there was times where I had to sit there, and I ain't gonna lie to you, either listen to it. Well, before there was online stuff, there was no internet. I would actually have to watch the. I don't think ESPN had the little scrolling ticker at the bottom, but I want to say it was. I think it was Headline News had the ticker with the scores on it, and maybe ESPN had to sit there and wait for Miami to. Oh, okay, we're on top, and then you have to wait for the ticker to come back. Oh, okay, we're up. You see what I'm saying? So it was really tough. It was really tough to be able to watch them, especially, in the 90s. The 80s weren't so bad because they seemed like they was always on TV. But when things started getting kind of bad in the 90s, they really weren't on as much. So it was kind of hard, especially for me around that. Some of those games in the early 90s was kind of hard. But as the ESPN grew and developed, you really got a chance to see a lot of it. But yeah, so that, to answer your question, I know I've been rambling for about 5 hours here, but yeah, I first started watching them around. I first saw them in '79 on TV, and then whatever I could, pick up on TV or reading the newspaper, it was just the way things were, it was just the times that, things, unless you lived in Florida or South Florida, you really didn't. And I really felt bad for Canes fans outside. That, it was hard. At least luckily, when the internet come along, I could, listen to it on the radio via the internet, But yeah, that's how it started for me. It was just something about that Hurricanes team that clicked for me. It was like love at first sight, Can't explain it, but it's there. And I've been supporting Miami ever since. Good times and bad, I always defend them, always support them. I may not do it financially or whatever like some people, but I never turned my back on them. I was always there, even when people laughed and scoffed and persecuted me because of that. And why you a Miami fan? They ain't no good. Yeah, but I love them. It's kind of like the Red Sox fans, the Cubs fans, Detroit Lion fans. And even being here where I am, I'm like, I don't know, 15 miles north of LSU. So, everybody here is an LSU fan. And yeah, they've had success over the last almost 20 years. And they forget how bad they were back in the 70s and 80s. They forget that. They just talk about what they've done lately. But, that's funny because we Miami fans are persecuted and mocked for living in the past. But yet, what do these SEC teams do? Alabama's. They talk about their 50 national, how Bear Bryant. The SEC's always about the past. But just don't you do it. But anyway, so I think you got something there, Phil. Again, that's the beauty of this. There's no right, no wrong answers. Everybody has their own choices, and that's cool. That's what's fun. If I can't believe you don't have Dorsey up there because, even though Dorsey didn't have the arm strength, he was very smart. He was a good quarterback. He really was. And I didn't want to, and of course I'm sure there's some folks that'll judge the quarterback based on the NFL. It's just sometimes you have young men that were just good college quarterbacks that aren't good NFL quarterbacks, and you got some good NFL quarterbacks who weren't really good college quarterbacks. Because then, see, that's another variable in the equation of this madness that is the favorites. Some of these quarterbacks may have had the proper development, proper coaching, proper strength and conditioning, proper, nutrition, and some may not have. You know, it's like, Harris, Jacoby Harris. That kid could throw a ball, but he wasn't really developed, because let's face it, the quarterbacks, the talent was there. You know, Kyle Wright to Miami. He was the number one recruit when we got him, but he was never developed. Yeah, he made some bonehead decisions on the field, but in my opinion, he was never developed. I mean, you can't hold that against him, but it is what it is. And that's why it's really hard to really compare these cats side by side. That's why I just go with the numbers. Because, I mean, honestly, there are infinite combinations to a top 5 list of this, whether it be quarterbacks, running backs, et cetera, because, like with the running backs, you can even go as far as talking about the play calling, offensive line strength, a lot of factors. But that's why I just keep it simple. I mean, this is low budget. This is Dollar Tree Productions here. This ain't Rodeo Drive. I don't have a team of investigators to go through the books and figure it out for me. I'm just sitting here in my, damn, this jersey's almost 20 years old. 20-year-old jersey. My old New Era hat, it's probably about 15 years old. I'm just passing time doing what I like, because I kind of like doing this. I may not be good at it, but I enjoy doing it. And I really enjoy the fellowship and the conversation. So I guess we're going to close the chapter on the quarterback. We can move on to another topic. Trying to think. Nah. I had some thoughts bouncing around my head, and since it's a lot of space, it bounced around a lot. So, I don't want to really talk about any season predictions, because as of right now, the way Miami's playing, but of course the teams, we talked about this. Oh man, when did we talk about this? I think it was before the A&M game, I believe. No, it might have been before the season started. I think you were there, Phil, and Bryce was there. I was talking about how, with the way this schedule is set up, once we got past the A&M, the schedule got progressively, the competition at that time, we perceived it to get progressively better as the weeks went on, because we were sitting there. Hell, it might have been before the season even started, or it may not. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, with going to Bethune, Temple, Georgia Tech, and then bam, North Carolina, bam, Clemson, and we were talking about how it progressively got better. The talent, the competition got better, and I mean, I did, we were talking and I said, we could possibly be 5-0 going into North Carolina. We could even be, I mean, of course, everybody said we'll be 5-0 or 4-1. I mean, nobody really knew. Oh, but if I had to give my 2 cents right now, I don't want to. I don't think I need to, but if I had to, based on what I've seen so far, and it's only been a month of college football, so things should start getting better, I hope. But from what I've seen, I still don't think anybody can beat us in the ACC. Clemson is hurting. North Carolina's not all that. And Florida State, I'm telling you, don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype, because they all Florida State's resting their hats on is that they beat LSU. Number 5 ranked team in the country. But guess what? LSU don't have a defense. Anybody who watched that Ole Miss game, hell, I remember, because I said it back when watching that at LSU Florida State game. The wife was watching it because she LSU fan. I don't hold it against her though. Joking. I'm joking. Oh, was watching that game, and I kept making the comment. It's like LSU's defense looks horrible. They're making Florida State look better than they are. And of course that came to light even with the Ole Miss game. Same thing. The defense just looked horrible. But the thing about it is, Ole Miss's defense wasn't that good either. And I still, I don't want to pounce on Florida State, but I enjoy it because they're Florida State. And I've been doing that been pouncing on Florida State for 40 years. But, and then, Florida State almost got, if Boston College had a clue, they'd beat them. Clemson, they beat Clemson in double overtime because Clemson wasn't that good either. Clemson made mistakes, uncharacteristic to Clemson's track history. But I've seen these games, Miami games, and it's like they're going out there and just taking care of business. They made mistakes against A&M, but they came back. And if things continue to progress like they have the last 4 games, man, don't let Miami go to the FSU game undefeated. Because if they continue to progress and they continue to win and show resiliency, yeah, you're going to make mistakes, but they fight through it and they come back. I'm telling you, Florida State won't stand a chance, dude. I'm telling you. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that Miami's going to go undefeated. I'm just saying, as of right now, on the 5th of October, 8 o'clock my time, 9 o'clock East Coast. From what I've seen, I don't think anybody can beat us. Now, after Saturday, I may say something different. I may say, ooh, North Carolina looks pretty tough. ooh, Clemson's like they're getting their act together. Yeah, I don't know. It's like I said, I've been saying throughout the season. And those who know that it's a puzzle. You know, the team is trying to put a puzzle together. You just take it piece by piece. Each game is a piece, you know, and they're just trying to put a puzzle together. Don't want to jump ahead. Don't want to get a little ambitious, but we just got to take it game by game. And I just, it's been a long time since I've said this. I mean, it's been a long time. I mean, I've said it before and got burnt, but I can honestly say I really like what this team as a whole, coaches, players, everybody, I like what's going on. It's been a long time since I've seen this. I think the last time I saw something like this was probably 99, 2000. You know? And what's crazy, and you'll probably think I'm crazy too, but you know, I usually I like to watch the You documentary. Oh my God. Sorry about that. I like to watch it as much as I can. I don't do it all the time, but I do watch it. And you know, I was watching it this morning when I got home from work before I went to take a nap. And I'm kind of like most Miami fans. I've probably seen that You documentary a lot. Probably more than I watch Star Wars. And I've watched Star Wars. Anyway, but it struck me this morning. I was watching it. And, you know, when Schnellenberger came in, he was talking about how they had like 6 coaches in 7 years or something like that. And I'm like, sounds familiar. And he come in and he didn't do good that first season. Matter of fact, let's pull that up right quick. Yeah, because Schnellenberger came in 79. Okay. That team went 5-6. Sound familiar? The next year in 1980, they went 9-3. Then 9-2, 7-4, bam, 11-1. I'm not trying to sit here and say that Mario Cristobal is the second coming of Howard Schnellenberger. Oh, yeah, I forgot. So, yeah, that first year under Schnelly in 79, they went 5-6. All right. The next year in 1980, they went 9-3 and went to the Peach Bowl and won the Peach Bowl. And that was the first time Miami had been to a bowl game since 67. That was 11, 12 years, 13 years without a bowl game. Sound familiar? Or at least a bowl victory. Sound familiar? When's the last time Miami won a bowl game? Let me tell you. Let's see how. The last bowl win we had was the Russell Athletic Bowl. I think that was the one we played against West Virginia. Kaya was quarterbacking under Mark Richt. That was back in 2016. Then we lost 4 straight. 4 straight. So I see a lot of similarities, you know. That's just me. But I think we're in store for good times if they continue to progress. And it's like every week after every game so far, I know it's only been 4 games. I know it's only been Miami of Ohio, Texas A&M, Bethune-Cookman, and Temple. Yes, I know that. But it's just how they play the game. You know, they didn't play down to the competition. They went out there. They made some, but they took care of business and moved on. The A&M game really, really showed me a lot. Personally, my opinion. They made some dumbass mistakes that would have shut down teams in the past. But no, they come back, they fought, they played, they overcame. I mean, hell, they spotted A&M 14, 17 points. You know? And at the end, they kind of gave them that other touchdown. So technically, Miami should have only given them like 14 points. Legit. If that. And again, I don't want to live in the world of what if. But the thing to take away, they fought back, and that's what was so good. That's what I loved. I like that. And to me, I had talked about it one time. I think it was on one of my ramblings calling into Coop. But I had talked about how, I forget what team is, a few years ago, I guess, that the team didn't have that it factor. That it factor that the more successful Hurricane teams in the past have had. You know? And I tell you right now, to stay on topic of this show, the quarterbacks, you know, if Van Dyke didn't have to deal with the bullshit from the last 2-3 years, and let's say this was his first year, let's say this was his junior year, he should start. Okay. If he could get rid of all that bullshit from the last few years, I could honestly say without a doubt, TVD we could see the best Miami quarterback we've had in 40 years, if not ever. You know, I'm just saying, I like TVD. Well, why didn't you put him on your list? You know, it just hasn't had the success because of the coaches and so forth. You know, but I tell you what, I'm hoping to see Jakari come in. I want to see how Jakari's doing. I got a bad feeling he may have upset Mario. You know what I mean? I really do. I think there might be something going on. You know, I don't know. But I'm really liking where this team is heading. As far as Saturday goes, shoot, I could see Miami putting up about 44 points, give up maybe 10. could be another. It could be a replay or same type of deal like with Miami of Ohio and Temple. That's about where Georgia Tech is. They lost to Bowling Green. You know? And thank God they don't run that antiquated triple option crap where they spend a whole quarter running down the field in, one drive just to kick a field goal. Jeez. Because don't forget, it was last year's game against Georgia Tech where Miami, snapped out their touchdown drought. What was it, like 2-3 games without a touchdown, and then finally they scored a touchdown? But I think Miami's going to put up anywhere from, I would say 38-44, somewhere around there. And Georgia Tech, I don't really foresee Georgia Tech getting more than 10 or 13. And God help them if the referees actually start calling holding penalties against our defensive line. Or let me rephrase that. If they start calling holding penalties on the offensive line that's holding our defensive line. I have never seen so many holding calls go uncalled. Holding penalties will go uncalled. I mean, and poor Bain, he's getting double teamed. He's getting held. Defensive linemen are being tackled to the ground. But it is what it is. But on a good note, Cam will be back. That's a good sign. That young man, that was, boy, I tell you, just you hate to see that happen to anybody. But I'm glad he's healing up. I believe a lot of the other guys will be coming back. So, and I'm real curious to see how these Miami night jerseys look. Of course, I talked about it the other day. I'm not a big fan of all these fancy uniforms. I'm one of those that I've always been the orange on white at home, white over orange on the road. The green over white, it ain't bad. The white over green, it ain't too bad. It's just different. But I will say though, I did like the all black ones with the orange numbers. I believe we wore those for who was that? Was it Georgia Tech? Not Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech in 2017. Because I know in 2017, when we beat the brakes off of Notre Dame, we were in orange over white classic. But I want to say, I think Virginia Tech, we had the all black ones. But regardless, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, those original black ones, those were pretty cool with the orange numbers. I liked it. That was pretty nice. And then of course, the old Stormtrooper look. I love that. I love that all white Stormtrooper look. It looked real clean. But yeah, I'm real curious to see how these Miami night jerseys look. It'll be what it'll be. Hopefully they got a nice loud crowd, but I will say though, this weekend where I'm at, the weather is supposed to change. It's supposed to only get like to the mid 70s Saturday and Sunday. I'm like, damn. They're talking about it getting down into the upper 40s, low 50s at night on Saturday and Sunday night around here. Man, I might have to bust out some sleeves to watch this game. Might be able to leave the door open, turn the AC off, and watch the game for the first time. I'm like, man, this is going to be nice. But anyway, so yeah, I'm just rambling. I'm just rambling. So yeah, that's it. I've been flapping my jaws for about 2 hours and 15 minutes. Well, actually 2 hours if you take away the intermission. Unless anybody in the crowd has something they want to talk about, whether it be Miami or whatever, if you don't have any, if there's no other things y'all want to talk about, I think we're gonna probably go ahead and call this first episode of 40 Year Favorites Field Generals a wrap. And while I'm waiting on some topics or comments, our next episode in the 40 Year Favorites will be the thoroughbreds, be the running backs. We'll talk about running backs. More than likely, I probably will not be able to have a show next week because of my work schedule. But after next week, I'll be on vacation. So I'll have that whole next week because I'm gonna need some time to do some researching. The research department has got to get on their game. So if I had to make a call right now, I'd probably say, because next week is North Carolina, it may not be until that Monday after North Carolina or something. And that's only because with my work schedule and the football games, we'll figure it out. So there might not be much going on this coming week. But I will have my pregame. We'll do a pregame show, Game with the Camera pregame. I'll probably do it, I guess, about an hour and a half before the start. That way, it doesn't interfere with any of the other. I know, because I think Coop's going to be doing his thing. I don't want to interfere with that. So probably as of now, 6:30 Eastern, Saturday night, I'll have my pregame because the game is at 7 o'clock my time. Let me double check, pull out the information box. Those who know. I want to say it was come on. I should have had all this set up before I started. Tell you, it's a high dollar production number here, buddy. Yeah, so it's 7 o'clock my time, 8 o'clock East Coast. So more than likely, probably about 5:30 my time, 6:30 East Coast, I'll probably have my pregame show. Kind of discuss what I think about the game, give my thoughts and theories on how Miami will do, and then we'll break away. Hopefully, I don't know who all, I think, but we'll see what happens. It'll be a live stream. And then after the game, probably I'll do a post-game report, give you my thoughts and theories on what I saw and how that relates to the upcoming week. Because with us playing late game, we'll be able to see some of the other games and kind of get a better idea and feel for what's going on in the college football season. It's a lot of ups and downs, you know. I mean, hell, dude, there's only one SEC school in the top 10 right now, I believe, last I checked. You know, tell me that's not crazy. Usually the SEC the system is trying to get as you know, they'll try to put 12 teams in the top 10 if the SEC had their way. But I digress. We're not going to talk about that. So, well, all right. I guess we're at the 2-hour, 20-minute mark just about. So I think we are going to wrap this up. Thank y'all for all who showed up. Thank you for watching. Phil, thank you for being here and joining in on the chat. To those of you in the back row, hey, I'm glad you're here. You know, I appreciate y'all taking time out your day to spend with this crazy old fool, you know. I really appreciate it. It's been fun. Again, next episode will be episode 2, the Thoroughbreds, in which we'll discuss the running backs. And I'm not trying to be rude, and I appreciate your input, Phil. And I know people have things to do. I'm not upset. I'm just glad Phil was here to talk to me, because you know, I was really wanting to get some input and feed and some discussion on this, because it's just not as much fun when I don't have anybody to talk to. But it's cool. Regardless of the fact, I failed to mention at the beginning, but I have been streaming to both YouTube and Twitch. So if any of you folks watch this on Twitch, or if anybody's been watching on Twitch, thank you. I know it's a non-video game broadcast production video. It'll be all right. Just pretend there's a game on here, you know. But yeah, no, seriously though, I do appreciate y'all taking time out your day to spend with me here rambling on. And also, if anybody makes it this far watching this in the future, please, you know, leave a comment, you know, say, hey, I like what you're doing, or hey, you're a dumbass. I'll never watch this again. I wasted 2 hours of my life. Nah. But you know, it is what it is. I'm not getting paid to do this. I just like doing it. I like chatting up with y'all. So yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm real excited for I'm hoping the post game show Saturday night. I hope it's rocking. I hope we get some good conversations going on, because I'm not just blowing smoke up y'all's ass. I really do enjoy the fellowship. You know, I may not be everybody's cup of tea, you know, but it is what it is. It's all good. You know, I'm kind of like, I guess I think of myself as the one that everybody hates to love but loves to hate. You know what I mean? But, you know, it's cool. I'm not going to sit here and, you know, this actually tonight was probably the most stats I've thrown out, you know. I'm not a big stat person. I don't have all the information. I just usually go with my gut feeling and how I feel personally, and just give my 2 cents, you know. And if you like it, you like it. And if you don't, well, there's like 30 other channels, you know. Feel free. I want to keep doing this, even if I talk to myself. But all right, okay, I know. I just will not shut up, will I? Will not shut up. So Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right. So, well, we made it through another one. Again, thank y'all so much. I appreciate those who are here tonight with us live. For those who are going to watch it later, thank you again. If you're new and you like it and you say, hey, this crazy old fool's funny as hell, you know, go ahead and subscribe or like it or don't, then just come on by. But for those of y'all in the back, those who may be new or kind of timid to say anything, look, you're not going to say anything wrong. If you've been paying attention, you might educate me. I just like the interaction. Hopefully we can meet new people, you know. But all right, I'm officially out of here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We'll see y'all next time. Peace, love, and soul, baby. Bye. Gotta find that button. There it is.